Okay, I'm going to quickly go over these problems. I'm going to work them out with you. And you have the problems marked, like the answers marked on your paper, so you'll know if you missed it or not. And then I'll give you the scores for, like, if you missed one, what did you make? If you missed two. So you're kind of grading it too as you go. All right, Andrew plays on a basketball team. In 2 games, he scored 2/5 of the total number of points his team scored. His team scored 55 points in the first game and 35 points in the second game. What was the number of points Andrew scored in these 2 games? So when we look at the little up-C model, which some of you learn, we need to understand the problem. There were 2 games that were played, and out of those 2 games that were played, he scored 2/5 of the points in both those games. So the up-C would be 2 games, and he scored 2/5 of the points. You see how I just put a multiplication sign there? Because it's of. Okay, the P stands for plan. We're going to make a plan. So first we're going to add the total number of points for each game. So we're going to add, and then we're going to multiply 2/5 times that total. So there's my plan. The S is solve it. So let's go ahead and solve that. First I need to find the total for both games. How do we find a total? Remember, total is one of those sneaky words for add. So 55 points in the first game, 35 points in the second game, and that's 90 points altogether in both games. And that's not what Andrew scored. That's what the team scored in both the games put together. And he scored 2/5 of 90 points. Now, how do we solve that? I watched 5th graders solve problems like this at Navarro the other day. You find there's a few ways to do it. First of all, if you take 90 and divide it into groups of 5, because that's the denominator, that's going to give you 18. So that's 18 points per fifth. Each fifth has 18 points. And this little boy, Andrew, I don't know, he's not a little boy. He's scoring on a basketball team, so he's not little. He scored 2 of those fifths. So 18 times 2. 18 plus 18 is 36. Okay? So E is evaluate your answer. Okay? Does it make sense? Well, if you take a look at that fraction, 2/5, that's almost half. And what's half of 90? 45. We talked about that when we were coding, and half of a 90-degree angle was 45. Okay, so this one right here is super close to half of that. So it's a pretty reasonable answer. So number 1 is C. Number 2, which expression is represented by the model below? Okay, each group here is -5. And how many times are we doing it? 4 times. So look where we ended up, at -20. Okay, we could use our little Dorito here to help us. -4 times -5, that's +20. This is -20. Our answer here is -20, and F's answer is +20. Okay, G's answer, 4 times -5, +4, -5 is going to give us -20. So it could be G. And H is -4 times 5. That also is -20, so it could be H. And then 4 times 5 is +20. That's not the model at all. So we need to decide if it's G or H. There's 4 groups of -5, so our answer here would be G. Number 3, Sherry had a rope. The rope was 12 3/4 feet long. She cut the rope into 3 equal pieces. Which expression could be used to find the length of each small piece of rope? Okay, so let's understand the problem. We're finding how long each piece of the rope would be. Things that we need to recognize is that she's cutting them into 3 equal pieces. What is that a clue for? 3 equal pieces. That's equal sizes. That's a big clue for division. Okay, so we are going to be dividing. We don't have to do it. They're just wanting to know which one of these. So let's make a plan. Really, our plan is to divide up the long piece of rope into 3 equal pieces. Okay, let's solve the problem. What is this picture saying? 12 3/4 divided by 3, which is this one right here, and evaluate. Well, this is one that I saw several people choose. We're not putting it into groups of, we're not dividing it by 1/3. When you think about division problems and keep, flip, flip, okay, that would be times 3. And then you would end up with like 36, more than 36, because 12 times 3 is 36. We want to know how big is each piece. Okay, each piece is going to end up being 1/3 of the whole thing. Okay, but we're not dividing by 1/3. We're dividing it into groups of 3, which is why it is C. Okay, number 4. For number 4, which list of numbers is in order from greatest to least? Well, we should remember that all positive numbers are greater than any negative numbers. So, and it's from greatest to least. Okay, it's going to be getting bigger. It's bigger, and then it's going to be getting smaller. So I'm going to eliminate F, because F starts with a negative number, and I'm going to eliminate, that's it. Okay. Now, when I look at G, I see that there's a negative number before a 0. That doesn't make sense either. I'm going to take that out. Remember, we're going from greatest to least. When I look at H and J, I see that my negative 5s are the same, the 0s, the 1/4, the 2s, they're all in the same place. But these two right here, I need to figure out which one is the greatest one, and that will be first. Is 7/3 bigger or is 6 bigger? And how do we figure that out? We need to use TIBO to see what 7/3 equals. Okay, so 7/3 TIBO, top in the box, bottom out, and that equals 2 and 1/3. Okay, now 2 and 1/3 is definitely smaller than 6. So my answer would be J. Another way you can do that is you can take 6 and compare it to 7/3 like this. What would I put in my denominator? I put a 1. I need you working both methods out here. And then let's cross multiply. 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times 6 is, wow, it's 18. It's a lot bigger than 7 is. So 18 is bigger than 7, 6 is bigger than 7/3, and that still proves that J is my answer. Number 5, Laura needs to order the number cards below from greatest to least. Again, greatest to least. Which of the following shows the numbers on the cards in the correct order? Well, we can eliminate this one because why? The negative is first. Okay? We have decimals and we have fractions. One of your questions on Edmodo is why do we need to change fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions? And this is one of the reasons, so that you can compare them. So let's just change everything to fractions. So on A, I'm going to write a 1 under the decimal and a 0 under the 5, and that made 5/10. And on the 7/10, negative 7/10, I put a 1 under the decimal and a 0 under the 7, and that's 7/10, but it's negative. Okay, so I have 5/10, 3/10, and then negative 2/3 and negative 7/10. Okay, now let's compare the 5/10 and the 3/10. 10 times 3 is 30, and 5 times 10 is 50. 50 is bigger than 30, so 5/10 is bigger than 3/10. So that 5/10 should be before the 3/10. That is good. Let's look at C. No, they put 3/5 first. That's wrong. And let's look at D. They put 3/5 first. That's wrong. So our answer here is A. One thing you have to remember is that when you are in the negative side, 3 times 7 is 21, but remember it's a negative. And 10 times 2 is 20. Remember, it's a negative. Negative 20 is bigger than negative 21. On the number line, it's on the right side of negative 21, so it's bigger. Oh, this is true too. Number 6, Jake drew this rectangle and colored it in this pattern. What's the ratio of colored boxes to white boxes? Okay, how many colored boxes are there? There's 4. To, how many white boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 to 6. 4 to 6 is not a choice, okay? But remember, this is another way we can write fractions and what's a common factor of 4 and 6. If you need to look at the T-chart for 4 and the T-chart for 6, you'll see that the 2 is the biggest one they have in common, and that makes 2 to 3. Okay, number 7. Oops. Mr. Brian, let me erase this. Oh. This is a really long and complicated problem. I'm going to skip over here to the questions, see what it's asking, and then when I read the whole story, I'm going to kind of have a plan in my head. Based on the chart, which team had the highest score? Okay, I'm going to figure out which team had the highest score. Let me read the story. Mr. Brian allowed his students to play a review game in math class. Teams received 4 points for every question they answered correctly and lost 3 points each time they gave an incorrect answer. The chart below was used to record correct and incorrect answers given by teams A and B. Based on the chart, which team had the highest score? Okay, so how many points are here? There's 4 points for each one, and there's 4 tally marks. So 4 times 4 is 16. So they gained 16 points, but then what ended up happening? They lost 3 points for each one, and there's 3 incorrect answers. So negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. They lost points here. If you had 16 and you lost 9, where does that put you? That puts you at 7. Okay, team B. 3 times 4 is 12. Well, right now it seems like they could be the losers because team A had 16 correct points and they only had 12. But how many incorrect ones did they get? They only got 1 incorrect. This game doesn't even seem fair because they didn't do the same number of problems. All right, so minus 3. 12 minus 3 is 9. Who had the most points? B did. So I'm going to eliminate A, and I'm going to eliminate C because they're saying team A won. And then let's see what correct choice we have here. I see equals 2 and equals 9. It probably is D. Let me read it. Team B, because 3 times 4 plus 1 times negative 3 is 9. And yeah, that's what we did. We put those together. All right, number 8, which expression represents a quantity less than 5? These are so easy if you would just remember that anytime you have a whole number and you take it times a fraction that's less than 1, your answer is going to be a number that's less than 5. 5 times 1 is equal to 5. So 5 times a number less than 1 is going to give you a number that's less than 5. So which one of these show 5 multiplied times a number less than 1? Is 2/5 less than 1 whole? Yeah, it is. It's 2 out of 5. Look at G. 3 halves You guys, if 2 halves is equal to 1 whole, then 3 halves is more than 1. So that can be eliminated. On H, 5 times 6 fifths. 6 fifths is improper. That's more than 1 whole, so your answer is going to be more than 5. And the same thing for J. 5 halves is greater than 1 whole, so 5 times an improper fraction is going to give you a number that's bigger than 5. Remember the rule. A whole number times a fraction less than 1 gives you an answer that's less than that whole number you started with. Number 9. Which of the following is incorrect? Okay, when I first saw this problem, I missed it because I was looking for the one that was correct. Remember, it's incorrect. All right, so keep, flip, flip on this one. Keep, flip, flip. -4 we're going to keep. We're going to flip the subtraction to addition and flip the -5 to +5. Okay, what do I have more of? Do I have more positives or do I have more negatives? I have more positives. And how many more positives are there? There's 5 positives and 4 negatives. So 5 minus 4 is 1. That's true. Okay, we're looking at the one that's for incorrect. Why did I do keep, flip, flip on this one, by the way? Well, I did it because it's a subtraction problem. Okay, B, -4 times -5. We can look at our Dorito for this one. This one's for multiplication and division. Okay, -4 times -5 is +20. Is that what they have here? Nope, they have -20. So our answer is B. Number 10. A diver is 20 feet below the surface of the water. Which point on the number line best represents this location? I was really disappointed in some of the answers that I saw here because to me this was an easy gimme. Halfway between -10 and 10 is 0. Okay? That's about 10 units and that's about 10 units. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. Somewhere in the middle there is 0. This dot is in between 0 and -10. That's about, I don't know, what's halfway between 0 and -10? -5. So I would say that's like -7. We're looking for -20. This dot here, what would you say that is? Well, that looks about halfway between 10 and -10, so I'd say that's 0. This dot up here is a positive number, so that's above the surface of the water. Okay, so far we've eliminated these. And then here's my dot here. Yeah, that's well below -20. If you turned your paper, oops, I don't know what I'm doing. If you turn your paper to the side or like stand it up like a thermometer, you'll see that this dot is below the -10. All right, number 11, which expression represents a situation where a quantity is decreased by multiplication? Again, this is a whole number, and we're looking where they take it times a fraction that's a proper fraction, not improper. Okay, 72 is the whole number times an improper fraction. That's going to give us an answer that's bigger than 72. 63 times an improper, ooh, that's not improper, that's proper. That's 8/9. That's less than 1 whole. Remember, 63 times 1 whole equals 63. So 63 times a number that's less than 1 will give you a number that's less than 63. So it would be B. On C, it's being multiplied times an improper fraction, and so is D. On number 12, which Venn diagram correctly classifies the numbers below? Remember, rational numbers are your fractions, your decimals, your positives, and your negatives. Integers are like whole numbers and their opposites. No fractions and no decimals. No fractions, no decimals. Our whole numbers start with 0 and go up. There's no fractions and no decimals and no negatives. And then our counting or natural numbers, y'all were saying, Miss, you hadn't taught us that yet, but that's from elementary. Your counting numbers. When you start counting candles on a birthday cake, do you start with 0? Do you say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? No, you just start counting with 1. So counting numbers start with the number you start counting with, 1. All right, so let's find the one that matches this. F, counting numbers, they have a 0 there. So no, you don't start with 0. Now on G, they have a 0 on counting numbers. So that makes it wrong. That 0 right there is not a counting number. Okay, H, counting numbers. That looks good. Whole numbers start with a 0. That looks good. Integers, remember, are positive and negative with no fractions and no decimals. That looks good. And the rational numbers are fractions and decimals. I'm going to put a question mark by this because I'm going to go down here and inspect J. Counting numbers, those look good. There aren't any zeros or negatives in there. Whole numbers, 0. Yep, there's no negative numbers there. That's good. Integers are positive and negative numbers with no fractions and no decimals. And look what they snuck in there. No. So our answer is H. Number 6, which expression is best represented by the integer -14? This means that there's going to be a loss of -14. A grocery store clerk helps 14 times as many customers as another clerk. That means however many that another clerk did, he did 14 times that. That's not losing 14. A coach divides the player on his team into 14 equal groups. See equal groups right there? That's division. Nope. A mail carrier delivers mail to 14 additional houses not on his normal mail route. They're adding 14. That's plus 14 or positive 14. And D, a carpenter shortens. That means it decreases the length of a board by 14 inches. That one everybody should have gotten that one right. Number 14, a box of cereal contains 12 3/10 cups. A serving of this cereal is half a cup. How many servings are in this box? So here's your whole box of cereal, and it's 12 cups and then a little bit more. And they're saying one serving, what you should eat, is half a cup. So they're saying how many half cup servings are in this box. Okay? That's division. 12. I'm going to erase all this because it's like way too much. This always messes. I'm just going to erase a lot. Okay. If you need something, you can rewind it. So we're going to take 12 3/10, and we're dividing it by a half. Now looky here. This is a big deal in 6th grade. You're dividing a decimal and dividing it by a fraction. One of them has to be changed. You want to change a half into a decimal and divide decimals, or do you want to change 12 3/10 into a mixed number and divide fractions? It's totally up to you. I'm going to do the fractions. 12 3/10 divided by 1/2. Okay, it's a division problem. Keep, flip, flip. Keep. You should have seen the kids at tutoring doing keep, flip, flip. They were like, KFC, KFC. It was funny. You guys did a really good job at tutoring, most of you. Okay, we're keeping that. We're flipping that, and we're flipping this. Okay, so it's 12 3/10 times, and 2 over 1 is just what? 2. Okay, you guys, let's not even solve this. Let's just look at our choices. If you just take 12 by itself times 2, that equals 24. And it's going to be a little bit more than 24 because we have a little bit more than 12 here. So could our answer be just 2 servings? No. What about 61 servings? No, that's way too many. We said it's going to be about 24. What about 6 servings and a little more? No. Look at F. F is just almost exactly what we're looking for. I didn't even have to multiply that all the way out. Okay, Sarah purchased 1.5 pounds of coffee that sold for $23.50 per pound. How much money did she spend on coffee? Okay, and I saw a lot of people get this one wrong. It's $23.50 for every pound. So you're going to take that times 1.5 pounds. Everybody needs to work this out. And I did see several of you get this correct, so I was pleased with that. Okay, 0 at 25, carry the 2, 5 times 3 is 15, 16, 17, and then that 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. And then there's my ghost, my placeholder, my 0. And then 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. Add them together. And then I need to place my decimal in. Okay, how many decimal places are here? 2. How many are here? 1. How many should be in our answer? 3. Because you add it together. 2 plus 1 is 3. I need 1, 2, 3 in my answer. When we have money, we just have 2 decimal places, and look, that's a 0, so I'm just going to drop it. And my answer is 35.25. I saw that. Alexis read that yesterday's low temperature in Houston was 11 degrees. Minneapolis was 14 below 0, New York was 5 below 0, and Seattle was 7. Which of the following list shows the cities in order from coldest to warmest? So I'm going to do Houston was 11, which is right there. This is a stylus, it's not really accurate. Minneapolis was 14 below 0, which is right here. Negative 14. New York was 5 below 0. And Seattle was 7. Okay, so that's Houston, that was Seattle, negative 5 was New York, and negative 14 was Minneapolis. Mini. Okay, coldest to warmest would be going that direction. So negative 14 is Minneapolis first, so I'm going to eliminate this one and eliminate this one. Okay, and the next is New York City. That would be this one. And let's see, one weekend, Greg and Darius shoveled snow to earn spending money. Together they earned $12.50 an hour for 9 hours of work. Each received half the total earnings. If Greg then spent $15 on a new CD, what was the total amount he had left in dollars and cents from the money he had earned shoveling snow that weekend? So if we were to look at UPSI, we want to understand the problem. That they're asking what was the total amount he had left. Okay, we want to see what Greg had left. Greg had left. And let's make a plan. Okay, first we're going to have to, this is each received half, so we're going to end up dividing. No, there's 9 hours of work for 12.50 an hour. So first we're going to multiply, and then we're going to divide it up. Divide it in half. And then he spent money on a CD, so that's subtraction next. It says, what was the total amount he had left? You guys, there's that total word, but sometimes that means like just how much money did he end up with when it was all said and done. Okay, so let's solve it now. That's what S is in that. So let's take, use our plan, $12.50 for 9 hours of work. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and that's it. So together they earn $112.50. Notice that's one of your answer choices, but we're not done yet because then each received half the total. So now we're on the division part. What do we divide by? How many people were there? There's 2 people that earn this money, and they're going to share it equally. So we divide it. 2 into 11, the closest we can get is 5 times. Bring down the 2. I'm going fast. You need to be doing this work as well. Pause it if you want to so that you can catch up. You can work ahead if you want to as well. All right, so each person received $56.25. Okay, so there's the division that we were doing. And now we are going to subtract. Okay, we're subtracting because he bought some money. I wish you could buy money. I wish I could go buy $20 for just $1. Wouldn't that be awesome? Greg has $56.25. He bought a CD for $15. How nice that he doesn't have to go buy diapers or anything like that. Okay, that's how much he has left, $41.25. Notice this $56.25, after we split their amount in half to see what each person got, that answer choice is there too. So if you don't follow through with your plan, then you might get the wrong answer. The last thing is to evaluate it, okay? And you can go back and check your work. Number 18. Paula, Tammy, Jess, and Hannah were, I'm going to delete all this because it's messy. Paula, Tammy, Jess, and Hannah were racing around the block. Paula finished the race in 1 and 2/10 minutes, Tammy in 1 and 1/10, Hannah in 9/10, and Jess in 1 and 3/10 minutes. Who ran around the block the fastest? So when we see this problem, okay, we want to understand the problem. Who ran around the block the fastest? Okay, so let's make a plan. We're going to order the decimals from least to greatest or greatest to least. The fastest would be the smallest decimal number, least to greatest. So let's solve it. Paula was 1 and 2/10, Tammy in 1 and 1/10, Hannah in 9/10, and Jess in 1 and 3/10 minutes. And who's the fastest here? The smallest decimal is Hannah. Okay, number 19, Ms. Jacobs bought 3 pizzas for her class. They ate 21/8 of the pizza. I would have really bombed this question when I was in 6th grade because I did not get questions like this, right? But let's investigate it a little bit. Each pizza has 8 parts, so each pizza is divided into 8ths. So if we were to count it, there'd be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. My iPad's about to die. 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8 is one whole pizza. 9/8, 10/8, 11/8, 12/8, 13, 14, 15, 16/8. 16/8, which if you divide that 16 divided by 8, that's 2. 17/8, 19/8. Where did I get off here? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21/8. Okay, so that's the pizza that they ate. Those 8ths. They ate 8ths. Okay, so anyway, which of these is the decimal equivalent to the amount of pizza eaten? Okay, so they're saying change that to a decimal. Those of you that have Mr. Lozano, you've been doing this for quite a while now. Tebow, top in, bottom out. 21 divided by 8. All right, now looking at these, which one shows 21 divided by 8? This one is 8 divided by 21. We could eliminate that. 3 divided by 8? No, that's not what we're doing. And then 3 times 8 divided by 21? No. This one right here shows 21 divided by 8. And I'm not even going to solve it because that's the only one that has the proper division problem. Candy bought snacks at the bulk bins for a meeting after school. The table shows the amounts of each type of snack that she bought. So you guys need to understand Candy is the girl's name. Which of the following lists the weight of the snacks in pounds in order from lightest to heaviest? So is that least to greatest or greatest to least? It's going to be least to greatest. So we're looking for the smallest. And again, we have, oh my goodness, we have mixed numbers, we have improper fractions, we have decimals. We need them all to be the same. So I'm just going to change them all to mixed numbers. So 2 and 5/10 is, I'm going to put a 1 under the decimal and a 0 there. That gives me my denominator. 2 and 5/10. 15/8 needs to be changed to a mixed number. Top in, bottom out. We're going to Tebow. And that is 1 and 7/8. 1 and 7/8. 2 and 5/8, and then 7/4. Tebow again. 7 divided by 4. 1 and 3/4. Okay, remember, I just used the little backwards check mark to remember how to do that. 1 and 3/4. Just like here, 1 and 7/8. Okay. 1 and 3/4. And that's 1 and 7/8. And that's 2 and 5/10. All right, which one is the smallest? I'm going to eliminate from my choices anything that starts with a sesame stick or whole grain pretzel because those are the biggest. So whole grain pretzels, sesame sticks. Oh, look, there's another one that starts with whole grain pretzels. And then mixed dried fruit is one of the ones that starts with a 1, and that's the only one left. I'm not even going to compare them because I don't need to. My answer choices help me out there. Okay, number 21. The temperature in Juneau was 12 degrees below zero at 6 a.m. By noon, the temperature had risen to 5 degrees above zero. How many degrees did the temperature increase from 6 a.m. to noon? I told you guys to use that thermometer on the other page to help you with that. That was 12 degrees below zero. All right, I'm going to have all these down there, but really I can just write negative 12. Okay, he's down here at negative 12. And he went up to positive 5. And they're saying, how many degrees are there from here to here? Well, you guys, just from here to here is how many? From 0 to 5 is 5. And from 0 to negative 12, that's 12 degrees. So how many, you have 5 degrees here and 12 degrees here. How much is that all together? It's 17 degrees. If you chose negative 17, that would be like a drop or a decrease. They'd say, what was the, how much did it decrease? How much did it drop? What was the change? If it dropped 17 degrees, B would be okay. But they're saying, how many did it increase? It increased 17 degrees, so D is your answer. Alfred and his 4 friends bought 13.5 pounds of gummy bears at $1.20 a pound. If the cost of the gummy bears is divided evenly among Fred and his 4 friends, how much will each person pay? We want to know how much each person is going to pay. So we're understanding the problem. How much will each person pay? So let's make a plan. First of all, we need to multiply because they bought all of these gummy bears and they're going to put that chamoy on them and eat them with a spoon. I need some of that now. And it's $1.20 a pound. They're not buying just 1 pound, they're buying 13.5 pounds. So first we have to multiply to see how much they're going to pay, and then they're going to divide it evenly. How many people are they going to divide it by? There's not just 4 of them, there's 5, so they're going to divide by 5. So let's do that. $1.20 has the most digits. No, it doesn't. I put it on top because it has the most digits, but it's the same number of digits. Okay, and then let's just multiply that out. Okay, there's my placeholder. Why isn't it writing? There we go. 0 times 3 is 0, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3. And then 2 placeholders now. And then 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. And then we add them together. That's 12, 6, and 1. Okay, so are you kidding me? They spent 160. That can't be right. It's not right because look, Jennifer, there's 2 decimal numbers there and there's only 1 here. What's 2 plus 1? 3. That means we should have 3 decimal places in our answer. $16.20. I thought they spent $162. That would be crazy. Okay, now notice that's an answer. But we still need to do what? We still have to divide by 5. Why? Because there were 5 of these guys that are about to chow down on the gummy bears and chamoy. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that and put my decimal number in my answer so I don't have to worry about it anymore. 5 into 16 goes 3 times because that makes 15. Subtract, bring down the 2. I'm not worried about that decimal there anymore because I have it up here in my answer. I don't need it. And then 20. I brought that 0 down. There it is, 20. 324. Okay. All right. And cut. How about if we do this real quick? Just delete that. Anne cut her king-size chocolate bar into 12 equal parts, and then she ate 7 parts. Which of the following shows 2 equivalent ways to determine how much chocolate is left? Okay, so she has it in 12 parts, and she ate 7 out of 12. Okay, so 7/12 is this one. That is the only one that says 7 out of 12. And now think of it this way. If you TIBO, that's 7 divided by 12. Which one says 7 divided by 12? That right there. Okay, you will not believe what happened to me. I was in the middle of recording this page right here. In fact, I had just finished number 26 and my iPad died, so I lost everything on this page. So I'm going to go fast. Brady used integer chips to model and solve the problem. Which equation did he model? And if you look at the picture, when I was walking around looking at your papers, a lot of you were getting this one correct, so thanks. There's 7 positives there and then 4 negatives. And when you have positives and negatives mixed together, the ones that can match up like these did, they make 0 pairs. They cancel each other out, and what you have left is here, positive 3. There's 3 positives that are left, so that's G. 25. Brand 1 of antifreeze claims that it can withstand temperatures of negative 62 degrees. Brand 2 claims it can withstand temperatures 5 degrees below those of brand 1. Which of the following represents the temperature brand 2 can withstand? So, like if brand 1 is at negative 62 and brand 2 says 5 degrees below that, it's going to get colder 5 degrees. So you're going to add 5 negative degrees to that, and that gives you negative 67, which is this one right here. Now, if you put D, look, negative 57 is actually warmer than negative 62. It's closer to 0, which is a lot warmer than these two temperatures. 26. Pat has 0 money and she's paying for all this stuff. And a lot of you were asking me, how does she do that if she doesn't have any money? Well, she might be paying him with a credit card or borrowing money. I don't know. But the important thing here is that she's subtracting and she's ending up in the hole. Remember we talked about when you have less than 0, you're in the hole. So she's $0 and she pays $56. Paying means that you're losing money. There's money coming out of your account, so that's negative 56. And then she pays another bill that's $17. And then she finds some money that's a positive, so she's adding $31 to that. But then she's going to pay for getting her nails done. And Pablo Rocha and I were discussing this problem. He was like, how she has no money, what is she doing getting her nails done? That's one of those things that you shouldn't be spending money on if you're broke. So let's see how many negative dollars she has altogether. Okay, this is a strategy that you can use. Let's see how many negative dollars she has. That's negative 56, that's negative 17, that's negative 69. I want to see how much that is altogether. 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 9 is 22. 2 plus 5 is 7, 8 plus 6 is 14. So she's down $142. And then she has this positive 31. So let's put that together. Now remember, your signs are different, so you're going to subtract to see what the difference is. What does she have more of? Obviously, she has more negative dollars. Which ones can I eliminate knowing that? I'm going to get rid of F. And I'm going to get rid of J, which is what, when Pablo was solving this, that's what he did. He got rid of those positive dollars. He knew it was negative. Okay, negative 142, and you're going to come up $31. So let's subtract that because your signs are different. We're going to see what the difference is. Okay, so we have more negatives than we do positives, so our answer is negative. And the difference here is $111, so it is G. Okay, the last two problems. Which of the following is equivalent to 3/5 divided by 7/9? We had just studied this, and I was hoping everybody would get it right. Keep, flip, flip. Why are we doing that? Because it's a division problem. 3/5 is what we're going to keep. We're going to flip the division, and we're going to flip the second fraction. 9/7. And then we just multiply straight across. Some of you guys are cross multiplying for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so which one? Oh, we didn't have to solve it. Okay, so which one shows 3/5 times 9/7? That one. Tom dug a hole 4 feet deep. He put a 20-foot tall board in the hole and poured concrete to hold it. If ground level 0, which integer represents how far below ground the board is located? Okay, so here's the hole. Here's the ground. Here's like some grass. And I'm going to take my eraser, and there's the hole. And it's 4 feet deep. So from here, I'm going to put 0 here to label ground 0. So from here all the way to the bottom is 4 feet, and it's going down. He put a 20-foot tall board in the hole and poured concrete to hold it. So he put this long wooden board in the hole, and he had to pour in concrete to hold it in. If ground level 0, which integer represents how far below ground the board is located? Are you kidding me? That would be... Okay, this one was so easy. I feel like I'm missing it, but no, I'm not. It's 4 degrees, 4 feet below 0. All of this is above 0. And that's 16 feet, that's above 0. And that's 4 feet, that's below 0. Altogether, that's 20 feet. Okay, so that was the end of this.